Here we are going to show you 15 most brutal foul of all time. Before I start, click the like and subscribe button. Thank you.
Here are 15 of the most brutal fouls in football history.
I don't believe it! Oh, that is a booking.
And our number 15 is a foul by a player who is normally known for being a nice guy. It was the last match in the group stage of the Champions League 2018. Ajax Amsterdam versus Bayern Munich. Both teams fought and scored 1 goal each, but in the 75th minute the Ajax bench went crazy. Müller wants to reach a long ball and flies through the air with his leg high up and doesn't see the Ajax player who wants to head the ball. The Bayern player hits Tagliafico directly in the head with his shoes. He suffered a head injury and had to be treated on the pitch, but luckily was able to continue. Müller had to shower early. He got a red card. Now this foul was bad, but not intentional. Our top 3, however, are just brutal.
Warum hat das nötig?
World Cup 1990 in Italy, and Cameroon surprised everyone. They beat the world champion Argentina with 1-0 in the opening game. But there's one scene in the game that the football world will always remember. Shortly before the end of the game, there is a counter-attack led by Claudio Caniggia.
2 players sent off.
Even the shoe flew away during the tackle. Massing was sent off, and this foul was considered one of the worst tackles during a World Cup ever. And yes, football is pure emotion, and sometimes the temper boils over. Our next foul is by a player who really fouls a lot and is considered one of the most unsportsmanlike footballers ever. 2010 in South Africa. Netherlands with Arjen Robben meet the Spanish tiki-taka with Iniesta and Xavi. We are in the 28th minute, the score is 0-0, and then this happens. Nigel de Jong becomes a kung fu fighter against Xabi Alonso. Understandable that the Spanish players were angry with the referee, and the Englishman Howard Webb gave only a yellow card. Hard to believe when you see these pictures. Alonso was fortunately able to continue playing, and since Robben failed to score, Spain won the World Cup in the end. And Alonso seemed to have forgotten all the pain. But this foul in the Bundesliga did not have such a nice ending, and the injured player even sued the other player and the coach. In 1981, Bielefeld played against Werder Bremen. Ewald Lienen wants to dribble past the opponent Siegmann. The shoes cut Lienen's leg open. I cannot show you the pictures of the leg, otherwise YouTube would block the video. The player luckily recovered from the injury after 4 weeks, but sued Siegmann and Otto Rehhagel, the Werder Bremen coach. He had encouraged his players to foul. At least that's what Lienen said. But the lawsuit failed. Nevertheless, the whole thing did not go by without leaving a trace. In the second leg, the coach even sat on the bench with a bulletproof vest. There were death threats against him. And Martin Taylor also received death threats after his foul on Eduardo. We are back in the Premier League. Birmingham City played against Arsenal. An unbelievable, brutal attack by Martin Taylor against Arsenal's Eduardo. He broke his shin and fibula, and the whole thing was so disturbing that even on TV no replays were shown. Taylor was suspended for 3 games. Eduardo made a comeback after a long injury break, but he never became the same again. Our number 5 happened 2 years later. Again, a Premier League game, and again an Arsenal player was fouled. The Stoke City player Ryan Shawcross goes into the duel, spikes first, and breaks Aaron Ramsey's leg. Shawcross received a red card and was suspended for 3 games. Arsenal coach Arsene Wenger and the rest of the team were furious. The 19-year-old Ramsey was just making a name for himself in the football world, and many were afraid that his career was already over. Fortunately, he was able to fight his way back despite this bad injury. And now to a foul. Hey, it's not okay to kick others because of your anger, but it is okay to be mad at the subscribe button and click it hard. Now, on to a classic in the football world, France versus Germany. In 1982, the two met in the semi-finals of the World Cup, and the fight was ruthless. Suddenly, a good chance for France. Goalkeeper Schumacher runs into Battiston and checks him KO. The player lost several teeth and injured his spine. One of the worst fouls ever. I mean, Schumacher had no chance of getting the ball, and it seemed he just wanted to knock out the French player. The crazy thing? There was no card, not even a yellow. Germany won the semi-final, but then lost to Italy in the final. I guess that's karma. And our number 1, perhaps the most brutal foul ever, was in England. Are we really surprised? September 1997, Manchester United played against Leeds. Roy Keane and Alf-Inge Haaland, the father of Erling Haaland, clashed several times during the match. And 5 minutes before the end of the game, Keane wanted to trip Haaland, but he injured himself in the process. And Haaland bent over him and yelled at him to stop faking an injury. But Keane did not fake it. He injured his knee and had to sit out for a long time. 3.5 years later, the two faced each other again. Haaland played for Manchester City, Manchester United's rival, and Keane wanted only one thing: revenge on Haaland.
Warum hat das nötig?
He got a red card and a 3-game suspension, as well as a fine of £5,000. A year later, Keane wrote in his biography that he just wanted to hurt Haaland with his foul. And the English league gave him another 5-game ban and a fine of a hefty £150,000. Football is a crazy sport, and if you want to see the best free kicks in the world,
Messi hits one. Oh, what a goal! Absolutely sensational.
then click this video.
William passer down there.
Yeah.